Just let the bloat be bloat. Let her bloat.
I am not asking. I am demanding.
She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I can only make grilled cheese.
Snow White is running for president.
Nobody wants a movie about true love?
I'm the hottest person in the world.
I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part.
After being roasted into meme history by South Park and ridiculed on national television by The Simpsons, insiders suggest that Rachel Zegler's humiliation is far from over. "I'm so ready to just throw my phone away," she reportedly said, fully aware that more jabs are on the horizon. Whispers in the animation industry indicate that
I'm like so ready to just throw my phone away. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know it's gonna happen.
Yes, please. Do go right now.
The Simpsons writers are planning to bring Rachel back for more brutal humor in future episodes, potentially turning her into a recurring punchline that extends well beyond the infamous Snow White debacle. "I can't wait to quit social media," she lamented, as sources close to the situation revealed that the Snowwoke parody wasn't just a one-off joke. It resonated with audiences, leading producers to consider integrating Rachel's animated counterpart into upcoming storylines. If these rumors hold true, Rachel's public meltdown won't just be a fleeting moment. It could become a permanent fixture in Springfield's satirical universe.
You know what I can't wait to quit? Social media.
The timing couldn't be worse, as her career is already on shaky ground following the disastrous reception of the Snow White remake, which has been labeled a case study in self-sabotage. While many people face real challenges, Rachel's multi-million-dollar salary and her complaints about being paid for 17 days instead of 18 have fallen flat. Her interviews have backfired, her social media presence has turned into a cringe compilation, and Hollywood insiders are reportedly hesitant to cast her in any high-profile projects. With The Simpsons.
It was a magical time, and I'm a Disney princess, and it was just very magical.
Allegedly sharpening their pencils for more jabs, Rachel's chances of moving past the scandal are dwindling. Officially, neither The Simpsons writers nor Disney executives have confirmed any plans for additional appearances, but in an industry where rumors spread faster than press releases, insiders insist the buzz is real. Perhaps Disney has learned its lesson, or perhaps not. If The Simpsons turns Rachel into a recurring joke, she may find herself trapped in the very cultural humiliation she's been trying to escape. In Hollywood, there's bad press, and then there's becoming the punchline that every cartoon, meme, and joke keeps alive long after the credits roll.
People have real problems and no one gives a shit if she got paid for 17 instead of 18 on her multi-million-dollar salary.
Rachel Zegler's downfall didn't happen overnight, but when it hit, it struck like a freight train, with animation studios taking note. What began as mild internet frustration over a few awkward interviews snowballed into a meme movement, a cultural symbol of Hollywood's disconnect from its audience. The backlash began when clips from Rachel's Snow White press tour circulated online. Her dismissive comments about the original 1937 film, her jabs at the prince being a stalker, and her insistence on rewriting fairy tales for a modern audience sounded less like excitement and more like an unsolicited lecture. Initially, it was just a few frustrated fans venting online, but once the memes started rolling, Rachel's image shifted from breakout starlet to out-of-touch Hollywood elite almost overnight.
Maybe Disney has learned their lesson, maybe not.
The timing couldn't have been worse. In an era where audiences were already fatigued by corporate reboots and heavy-handed messaging, Rachel became the perfect target. Enter South Park, which mercilessly roasted not just Rachel's version of Snow White, but the entire culture surrounding it. The satire was savage, viral, and unforgettable, turning Rachel into a household meme almost instantly. Then came The Simpsons, whose Snowwoke parody didn't just mock the film, it skewered Rachel's entire public persona: the lectures, the entitlement, the disconnect.
Lots of people so thank you for this video. Is that inappropriate?
The impact was so profound that insiders speculate the writers are considering making her a recurring gag. For Rachel, this kind of branding is something no PR team can spin away. While Hollywood stars dream of becoming iconic, becoming infamous in animated form sticks even harder. Producers and far-left activists in Hollywood have turned on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platforms. Unless something drastic changes, Rachel may have joined a very small, unfortunate club of celebrities so mocked that even animated characters can't stop laughing at them.
This clip is already 9 minutes long on my phone, and I bet you learned nothing.
Before The Simpsons took their shot, Disney's Snow White remake was already in trouble. Insiders say panic began months earlier as early audience reactions painted a grim picture. What was supposed to be a nostalgic hit turned into a marketing nightmare, one that no amount of glossy trailers or empowerment speeches could fix.
The producers, far left-wing activists in Hollywood, are turning on her, and Disney has canceled all of Rachel Zegler's appearances on their media platform.
From the start, audiences sensed something was off. Rumors circulated about the dwarves being replaced with random magical creatures and a plotline focusing more on empowerment speeches than fairy tale magic. Rachel's now infamous comments dismissing the 1937 classic as outdated and problematic only fueled the fire. Fans who once lined up for Disney remakes like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King.
What can be said about this level of narcissism? Here, please, enjoy.
Didn't just hesitate this time, they revolted. Early box office projections tanked, merchandise sat untouched, and retailers slashed prices even before the film hit theaters. Leaked internal numbers suggested Snow White was on track to be one of Disney's worst-performing live-action remakes ever. By the time the movie opened, the nightmare had come true. Theaters sat empty, and viral TikToks showcased deserted auditoriums. Commentators mocked the film, calling it preachy, lifeless, and disconnected from the magic of the original.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
Hold on.
All right.
Even longtime Disney loyalists admitted that something fundamental had been lost, and Rachel Zegler's off-putting interviews only exacerbated the situation. The Snowwoke parody was particularly brutal because it didn't just kick a film while it was down. It stood on the wreckage, waving a neon sign that read, "Look how badly they messed this up." With rumors swirling that Rachel's animated humiliation could continue in future episodes, it became clear that The Simpsons didn't create this disaster. They merely memorialized it, one savage joke at a time.
I don't know if that mirror was broken, but that has to be one hell of an acting job by Gal Gadot. She looks into the mirror and she's mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And then they show her a picture of Rachel Zegler and somehow she has to not burst out laughing.
If you blinked, you might have thought it was just another throwaway gag. But for those paying attention, the Snowwoke parody was a surgical strike at the heart of Disney's Snow White disaster. In the fake in-universe movie, Snow White wasn't a wide-eyed dreamer waiting for true love. She was a walking corporate checklist, lecturing woodland creatures about the patriarchy and rejecting any hint of romance. The prince was downgraded to a useless background extra, and the dwarfs were erased in favor of magical creatures holding emotional support meetings instead of mining gems. Every line in Snowwoke felt like it had been ripped directly from the worst of Rachel Zegler's interviews, where she dismissed the original film and insisted Snow White needed to be rewritten for a modern age. Fans didn't need hints. They knew exactly who and what was being roasted. The show's depiction of Disney executives was equally savage, portraying them as corporate suits stumbling over buzzwords while their latest reboot burned down around them.
Have you ever considered that your fairy tales have actually stood the test of time because they are always relevant, because that is what a fairy tale is, because they have timeless, universal values and lessons that any person, regardless of their age, regardless of their generation, could connect to? That is why they are so important. That is why they have been around for hundreds of years. You didn't start these fairy tales. Grimm's fairy tales, that's where they came from. People love these for a reason, because of the values.
Insiders speculate that the parody hit so hard because it wasn't an exaggeration. It barely even qualified as satire. It simply reflected what fans had been saying for months. Disney's attempt to modernize Snow White had drained every ounce of magic from the story, leaving behind a hollow, joyless product. If rumors are true that The Simpsons writers aren't finished yet, then this first roast was just the opening salvo. In Springfield, once you become a punchline, the jokes keep coming until there's nothing left but echoes. Behind the scenes, Rachel reportedly vented that the parody was vicious, unfair, and targeted, feeling like the entertainment world had made her a scapegoat for Disney's broader failures. However, public sympathy was in short supply. The internet had already moved past outrage and into full-on entertainment mode, memeing her reaction and parodying her quotes. Insiders also speculate that Disney's silence throughout the ordeal only fueled Rachel's anger.
We're not all blind. We can still see. Gal Gadot is a beautiful person. And Rachel Zegler is a fairly good-looking person.
There was no public statement defending her, no corporate shield to hide behind. Just radio silence and quiet internal distancing as Disney realized the Snow White backlash was now toxic beyond salvaging. For Rachel, the reality is brutal. She's trapped in a vicious cycle where the more she tries to move on, the more the culture pulls her back. If rumors are true, there may still be a narrow path back for Rachel. A gutsy indie role that strips away the glitz and allows audiences to reconnect with her humanity.
Because a woman shouldn't have to depend on a man. Snow White was brought back to life by a lady doctor.
And she lived happily ever after?
Well, she couldn't indulge in strenuous activities like handball, but otherwise, she was fine.
Or a carefully controlled comeback tour that acknowledges past mistakes without feeding new memes. A long break from the spotlight could also help, allowing the internet's short attention span to latch onto a newer controversy. However, even those possibilities come with no guarantees. The memes, animated jokes, and cringe-inducing interviews are not going away. Rachel Zegler's face has become locked into pop culture as a cautionary tale, and fair or not, it might take an entire generation before her name doesn't immediately evoke eye rolls, sarcastic hashtags, and cartoon parodies. As for Disney, insiders claim the Mouse House is already moving on, scrambling to salvage future remakes and recalibrating their messaging to downplay the Snow White disaster as an unfortunate experiment rather than a warning sign. Yet, audiences have long memories for betrayal and even longer memories for arrogance disguised as empowerment. The question remains, can Rachel Zegler claw her way out of this cultural sinkhole, or has meme culture already sealed her fate? Will Disney finally learn from this disaster? Or are we about to witness them double down once again? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you're here for the real stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. And don't forget to subscribe. When you're ready to see just how deep the rabbit hole goes, the next video is already waiting for you.